is the additional secretary at the OIA, the division which looks after this India program.
Come get in the picture here. Or she want to take a picture, then you come in the picture. सेमी फॉरवर्ड है इसमें बच्चों को पूरा मौका दिया गया है to unwind themselves, express, share their experiences.
So with the permission of the chair, we start the session. Wonderful. So once again, namaste and welcome to this wonderful afternoon. It is so great to have you all amongst us, and this has been long time. You are the 60th KIP delegation, and the 59th was sometime in January 2020. So that's almost 32 months ago. So it has been long time. The world has changed a lot during all this period. Lot of challenges, lot of lessons, and lot of opportunities in all this. So welcome you all, very warm welcome to Pravasi Bhawan. Well, my job is very limited. In 5 minutes, I'll just tell you about this organization. And it's a great pleasure that we have amongst us, very senior diplomats. I have Ambassador Bhanika Jain, and then Excellency, the High Commissioner of Guyana, and very soon will be joined by the High Commissioners of Trinidad and Tobago, the Ambassador of Suriname, and the diplomats from Fiji and from Sri Lanka. Now about this organization, Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad, as we call it in Hindi. English is Indian Council for International Cooperation. This organization has been working for promoting international cooperation, the universal brotherhood motto, and engaging with the diaspora for how many years? Since more than 50 years. We started, formally we registered in 1978, but we had started actually working with the diaspora sometime in the decade of 1960s. And the idea at that time was, we have our friends from Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, I'll just tell you a brief anecdote that when the Trinidad and Tobago got independence, then one of the parliamentarians of Indian origin, Mr. Shambhunath Kapil Dev, so he's a gentleman who actually came to India and expressed the concern that we are worried about how our youth will stay connected to India. Because remember, at that time, very limited means of communication, not much travel between, across the continent. So he was worried about the youth. So that concern is still there. So we want to engage with the youth as much as possible. So at that time, this concept came to our mind that we should do something to connect with the diaspora. So at that time, the format was that the senior functionaries of Indian Council for International Cooperation and other like-minded people, they traveled to continents and then encouraged the Indian diaspora to send their children to India for studies. And then this organization took upon themselves that they will work like their guardian. So any problem which the students have will help them out, with that. And on their national days, we used to celebrate, their national days. We used to organize trips to take them to, places of historical importance and to acquaint them with the Indian culture. So with that kind of glorious tradition, we started. And then, in 1978, we formally registered as a non-profit organization a political organization. We do not affiliate to any political party. You see, our concern is to work for the Indian diaspora. And then, of course, the focus now has been on neighboring countries and other things also. The basic objective is to, highlight the achievements of our diaspora, to help them in whatever way, we can help them. And in that long journey, I'm skipping because I have limited time with me. Truth, because we have given you in your brochure a souvenir. The gentleman who was the spirit behind this, we celebrated the birth centenary this year, and as a memoir, we released a souvenir in which the information about the organization is there on page 14 and 15. 2017, you see, when this concept of diaspora came to be recognized the world over, all countries, they started realizing the importance of connecting with the diaspora. Then we thought that we should do more value addition to this concept, more than the culture and other things, because there is, economic benefits out of engagement with Indian diaspora. And that is not at one side. This is at both sides of the value, is at both sides of the chain for the diaspora countries in their host countries, as well as, for their motherland. So with that concept, we started the Diaspora Research and Resource Center, and we are thankful to the Ministry of External Affairs that they supported us in this. And for the last 5 years, we have been working. So primarily on four core areas we work. One is to prepare a database of all the organizations and the important diaspora icons with whom we prepare a database, so that anybody wants to use that to connect with them, they can do that across the globe. And then second is to provide a forum of networking, organizing the webinars, the seminars, and all those things. Third, which is very important, which we give very high priority, is to engaging with the youth, because we believe that the youth of today are going to be the national leaders of tomorrow. So they have to remain connected. So that is a high priority area. And I'm happy to tell you that the whole concept of No India program, in fact, the gentleman whose birth centenary we celebrated just a couple of months ago. So he's the one who actually floated this idea of, inviting the students, the No India program. And you are the 60th batch of that. So that, you see, is the fourth one. And the last core area on which we concentrate is on research and publication, because we feel that though diaspora is very important, but still there is not much research that has been done in this area. So not only from the India's perspective, in fact, for your perspective also, from your perspective as well. So in fact, I invite you, you are young, bright, students and professionals in your area. So in case you have something to write, something to research upon, we'll publish it in our journals. We'll recognize you. And the selected articles we remunerate also. So in fact, we also motivate you, and we suggest that you start working on that. There's a lot of things. And in your countries, the archives, etc., are so well established. So that is an area in which, out of your interest also, and even otherwise, you have a lot of scope to work on that area. So that, you see, is a brief background of the Indian Council for International Cooperation, and of late the Diaspora Research and Resource Center. The journey is long, but yes, like all long journeys, we start with small steps. So we are taking our small steps, and we want to make you all, our fellow travelers in this journey. So with that, I thank you very much, and hand over to the chair, Ambassador Anup Mudgal. Commissioner, you want to say something to the batch?
Can I stand up so I can see more of you? I don't know how to address you. Your colleagues, my friends, some of you are from Guyana. To the chair and Dr. Aurora, I've known him pretty much for my year and a half that I've been in India. And I guess we have established a relationship that this organization, with people like Dr. Ur, is trying to establish with all of us, or all of you. A relationship that can last pretty much for a long, long time, like forever. And so one of his biggest concerns is, how do we get the youngsters? Because we're already old, like I'm old. How do we get the youngsters to connect? And this particular effort by this organization is one of the best ways, to me, that can bring you here, because you're here. There is no better connection than a physical connection. We get to interact, we get to relate. I'll tell you something, for Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad, Mauritius, and Fiji. Last year on the 30th of October was Diwali. We had a Diwali program by the 5 countries. And it was literally mesmerizing. Minister Lekhi never lost track of us. That was the first time many of us met her. And this year, the Ministry of External Affairs, led by Minister Meenakshi Lekhi, is spearheading the Diwali program. She said it has to happen again, probably bigger and better than it was last time. But why I'm saying this is, when you talk of the diaspora, the Indian diaspora, you will look at Canada. The leader of the NDP in Canada is a young lawyer with a turban in his head named Jagmeet Singh. He literally controls what happens in Canada, because Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is of a minority. The Conservatives, which is the opposition, the major opposition, can vote, move a no confidence and remove Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister of Canada. But that is subject only to what Jagmeet Singh, as leader of the NDP, does. And no confidence was tabled during Justin Trudeau's first term. And supported by the NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh, an Indian national, that no confidence died before it even was tabled, literally. And so Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called an election in 2.5 years rather than a full 4-year term, because he felt that he was doing good, and so he could come back in with a majority like his predecessor Harper did. It didn't happen. He's still there with a minority and still depends on Jagmeet Singh to keep him in office. And so the reason I'm talking about the diaspora, that's a big thing in Canada. America, all across America, you have Indian nationals. But what is unique about the 5 countries I mentioned? Guyana, Trinidad, Suriname, Fiji, and Mauritius. The diaspora is not just people who migrated in modern day. We got to these countries through the indentureship. The British were running countries worldwide. The 5 countries were dominated by the British, or owned by the British. And so to work the sugarcane fields, the slaves who were then still under the bondage of slavery could not do it, and so they imported laborers from India to the tune of about 200 and something thousand. And the first ship that landed in Guyana in 1838, the first 2 ships, the Hesperus and the Whitby, took a small number, 150 something in one, I understand, and another 100 and so in the other one. Many died on board while traveling. And so that is what is unique about the diaspora in these 5 countries. We did not, and I'm saying we did not as in our foreparents did not get to Guyana through traveling on jets. They got there through traveling. When you talk of going to green pastures, it was going to a forested area. That's the green. You had to clear that out and build what we called lodges in those days. Today they call them row houses or townhouses because they're properly built in foreign countries. But our foreparents did that, and that is how we and you, the 5 of you that I just met, 5? Yes, 5. Yeah, 5. That I just met, got to Guyana through hard labor, through brave acts of our foreparents who decided, well, we are going to go. We don't know where we're going. We know we don't have houses to live in when we get there, but we will make things work. And I don't have to tell you youngsters, the 5 of you here, the same thing is in Fiji, Mauritius, Trinidad, Suriname. The Indians have made serious inroads. And so the diaspora and the strength of the diaspora in these 5 countries is way, way different from the diaspora in America and Canada and England and these other countries that have large numbers of Indians. They came late, or well after our foreparents got to our countries. And so for you youngsters now, you know, we have gone a full circle, 180 something years for us in Guyana, 140 something, 50 something in the other countries. We were the oldest in the indentureship. And so that did not stop us moving around, mixing and mingling and having friends like I have in Dr. Aurora here, you know, like it will not end. And so I wish to assure my brother that the relationship between India and the diaspora will not end. It cannot end. And so the effort that has been put to bring you 5 here and others from different countries is a magnificent one. That is indicative of the fact that, you know, we want it to live and it will live because we are doing things to keep it alive. My friends, the head table, it's a pleasure. And I enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Okay. So it's on me now. Yes? It's all right? Okay. Hear me out now, okay? I will also stand in flow, right? And tell me if I need a microphone. Otherwise, I have a loud voice. Can you hear me till the end? All right. Next question.
Somebody
Oh,
said
joining
no.
us?
Somebody said no.
Did you say
just
no?
now. Of course he heard the question.
I raised the question, but it never made to answer. Can you hear me out? Yes. Very good. All right, Monica, thanks for joining us. And Prabhasi, of course, you're part of the team. And let me once again welcome you here. Yes. In fact, Gopalji mentioned about a phase in ERSP's life when he started Diaspora Research and Resource Center. And I would take some blame for starting that process. Yes? So I'm joking, I'm not really blaming. I was part of that process for setting up the Diaspora Research and Resource Center. And as Gopalji mentioned, our idea behind DRRC was carrying this process while of course celebrating the past, but carrying this process to the future. Yes? Because it's a wonderful past that we have in terms of diaspora. Sometimes, you know, when you talk about diaspora history, we tend to start from the indentured, because that's what comes to our mind. That, you know, indentured people were taken out by the colonial rulers for plantation, then of course from Mauritius to Caribbean to Fiji and other places. And we think, okay, that's the starting point. But friends should start, that's not it. It's a wonderful step in the whole diaspora story, but that's not the starting point. You know, India in fact has been a center of diaspora experience on both ways. India has been attracting people from all over the world, and India has been sending people all over the world. So this, I should use the mic. So I've been ordered to use the mic, right? Is there a stand or something? Because unless I move my hands, my message won't reach. Right? I'll put it here. I hope you'll be able to hear me out. It doesn't fit. So most of the things are not fitting today. So it's a land which is called as the melting pot of civilizations, right? I was reading a fantastic story about a diaspora. I'm sure, Manika, you know it. This goes back to the time of Kalinga, in fact, which is almost uh, either 1 century before Christ or 1 century AD. And Kalingas, in that coast, India had a long tradition of economic relationship with the entire Indian Ocean rim. Yes? And why we had those relationships? Because Indian Ocean is a very special water body. It has currents called the monsoon currents. You have heard about monsoon currents? Have you heard about monsoon currents? You know, what do they do? Monsoon currents in winters move from north to south, right? And in summer they move from south to north. And as a result, you can use these currents for moving your boats without any effort, because you don't require now the mechanized boats, because the wind will take you, right? So a lot of people used to travel all over along the Indian coast, Indian Ocean coast, and they used to trade. And one Kalinga trader, Manika, I'm sure you know this story. This fellow, in fact, takes a ship and goes to Sri Lanka first, and then from Sri Lanka cuts across to Southeast Asia, and then he is attacked by pirates on the way, and his ship gets a bit damaged. So what does he do? He docks in today's your territory, Cambodia. It was not exactly Cambodia of today. It was a small little territory which was ruled by a local chieftain. And they catch hold of this fellow because the ship is broken now. He docks there. And his daughter falls in love with this Indian trader. Yeah, her name was Soma. Yes? Kandian. Kandian, yes. So she falls in love, and now this fellow who was the local chieftain, he proposes to this fellow, he says, would you marry my daughter? But I didn't come all the way to marry your daughter. Right? He thought he will repair his ship and he'll go back. But then, the pirates who attacked the ship were also the employees of this local chieftain. Right? This is a good way to find a son-in-law. Right? You have pirates and then you say, okay, marry my daughter. Otherwise, the pirates will not let you go back. Yeah? And the poor guy landed up marrying that girl. And then he literally became the ruler of that place. And with his wife, he expanded their kingdom to a much larger area. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, all over Southeast Asia, there was a tradition of bringing Indian educated youth and others to work in their administrations, in fact, to help in governance. So as a result, a lot of Indians went to Southeast Asia. If you go to Malaysia, I'm sure my friend from Malaysia will tell me. When you go to Southeast Asia, you have a lot of people of Indian origin there. And they went like this. And the beauty of the Indian diaspora was that they were very adaptive people, in fact. They were not, they didn't have any radical ideas. So whatever the idea, they will adapt to that idea. Yes? So as a result, they were hardworking, they were quite skillful, very intelligent, and they were very adaptive. So as a result, wherever they went, they were very, very successful in whatever they did. Right? Then the story goes on. Then with the indentured, I would not touch the Roman civilization and the Greeks, where again we had similar relationship. That was more like a forced emigration, where the British colonial rulers took people from India for their plantation work. And of course, they, like this fellow in Cambodia, from indentured to governance, right? In most places today, they are the top of the governance in these countries. Yes? And what happened later on during our national movement, a lot of people went out. They went to various places in North America, Europe, and other places. And then, of course, post-independence,
initially, a lot of unskilled and semi-skilled workers went to Gulf, and today they are very, very successful ethnic community in Gulf. They send back a lot of money to their families in India. Then later on, the skilled people started going out. Yeah, that was the time when Indian IT engineers went to US, Canada, and Europe. And today, if you go to Silicon Valley, sometimes you get confused. It may be part of some part of Indian territory. There are so many Indians there. Yes, if you look at the boards there, road signs, they are also written in some of the Indian languages. There are so many of them. And then, of course, you have heard about, High Commissioner mentioned about Indian origin people in the Canadian cabinet. Now you have the Indian origin vice president in the US. You have earlier governors in Europe, same UK. You can talk about Australia, New Zealand, wherever you go. Of course, Singapore, wherever you go. I'm not talking of the endangered root countries, which is Mauritius, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, Fiji. There, of course, they are in very large numbers. So a glorious past, can we talk about where we go from here? Yes, we have come a long way in terms of our diaspora success all over the world. As Gopalji mentioned, we wanted to engage more closely with diaspora, and this was facilitated by the channels of communication, modern channels of communication. It became easier to connect with diaspora. Yes, it was not so easy in the old days, but then it became easier. Today it's much easier, right? You are physically here, but you can be digitally with us. Yes. So now the tools have changed, which means we can be together even without being together, right? And I'm sure in time to come, we'll probably have, you will have my hologram in your country, and you will be able to talk to me as if I'm physically there. And I will be able to have your holograms here, and I will be able to talk to you as if you are physically here. Yes, so things are changing. And that brings me to future. What kind of engagement we would look forward to have with diaspora, and what kind of engagement the diaspora would want to have with India as land of their origin, right? Now, what's happening? The world has gone through what is called generational shifts from time to time. Yes? But again, we are at a point, because the earlier generational shifts took place when many countries did not have the means of participating equally in that transition, right? For example, when the Industrial Revolution took place, we were all literally around that time, we were colonies. So we didn't have the capacity of taking part in that revolution as equal partners. So as a result, we were left behind. Yes? So whatever transitions took place, Industrial Revolution 1, even Industrial Revolution 2, in fact, there also we were not the equal partners. Even in 3, we were not equal partners. But now we are at the verge of launching what is called Industry 4.0. Have you heard about Industry 4.0? I'm sure if the youngsters don't hear that word, who will do it? Yes? So we are at the verge of opening the doors to Industry 4.0, which means the world is going to go through a very, very major transition from the kind of life we were used to in the past. It's going to be a very, very different world. We are looking at transformations in terms of geopolitics. We are looking at transformations in terms of economics. We are looking at transformations in terms of technology. We are looking, you name any aspect of human life, and we are now looking at a very major transition, right? My question is, if we were not the equal participants in the earlier transformations, can we accept a situation where we would not be equal partners in the transition which is knocking at our doors? Would you want to be equal participants in that? Isn't it? All of us, all the countries you represent and all the societies you represent, I think we have reached a stage where we can stand up and demand our rightful place in that transformation. Yes? And that transformation will require a much closer understanding of the different viewpoints which are emerging as part of this transition. Yes? I'm sure, uh, if I say, but I'm sure you would agree with me, largely, in this transformation, India will definitely play a very major role, right? Major role because it's a large country. We are 1.4 billion people, and you simply cannot close your eyes to so many people, in fact. We are already the fifth largest economy. Manika, fifth or fourth? Fifth, yeah? Fifth largest economy in the world, you cannot ignore. In terms of technology, India has a very strong technology based and very creative minds like you people, in fact. Because technology is a function of freedom of your mind. And that is where, in fact, the Indian minds always remain free, right? Even when we were colonized, our mind was free. We were colonized physically, but not mentally. Our mind was free. And the free mind is also a creative mind. Can anybody ignore this bunch, a large pool of creative minds when we talk about technology transformation? No. But the question is that the developing countries still are segregated all over the world. And collectively, they might have a huge voice, but individually still not there. Yes? As a result, this message of every small and big developing and emerging country and societies must reach to each other so that we are able to come to a common platform, what exactly we want in terms of seeking an equal right in this game-changing transition that we are looking at. You see, in the past we were told and we heard and we accepted. Yes? Every time we say, oh, this is what is happening. We said, all right, sir, if it's happening, we'll accept it. Yes? But most of those ideas are not our ideas. Those ideas have been given to us, while we have been very successful even in those ideas. But the issue is, we are not really equal partners in those ideas. Yeah, be it the political systems or the economic systems or even the technologies or the geopolitics. But today, we have the capacity of seeking an equal participation in that transition. And that is where the youth like you would play a crucial role. And how would you do that? Please stay connected so that your innovative energies are able to create a common platform of synergy, right? And we are able to add such substantive value to this transition that nobody will be able to ignore our opinion in the matter. Yes? You agree with me or no? Loudly. Agree with me or no? Yes. So that is where I will request you, please use Diaspora platform, the DRRC platform. We will be bringing in these issues for discussion with diaspora youth. Yes? How do you think about those ideas? What are your ideas in that whole process? Yes? Can we create an opinion? Yes? And that would be in technology, that would be in economics, that would be in political system, and that would also be how, for example, this No India program should be further adapted to the 21st century. Yes? So I think I can keep on talking, but I will not because Gopalji will not call me next time. Okay? So I will stop here, and I would request you people, please respond to what I said and give me your ideas. Tell me if I am wrong, tell me on my face, sir, you are absolutely wrong. Yes? But if I'm not wrong, please tell me where can we improve this whole idea of Indian diaspora joining hands together for carrying this process forward so that this time we are not left behind. Okay? You agree with me? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mudgal. In fact, you have shared your insight, and he has a wealth of knowledge which does not decrease. You know, every time he speaks, it increases. So we have more every time. Wonderful. So, my dear friends, the format of this inaugural session is that every time we organize a workshop for our KIP delegates, and we take a subject which gives them, a new idea, a new perspective, a new insight. And for this particular batch, we have invited a very prominent, another non-governmental organization with the name Seva International. Now, they have been working across the globe in many countries. And why we think that it is important is, but I want to throw open this idea to you, that one of the common mistake that citizens of a nation make is that they expect that everything will be done by the government. Now, this is the first point where that kind of some kind of resentment starts. I think the non-governmental organizations or the civil society organizations, they have a very, very important role to play. They build bridges between people to people. They build bridges between the government and the civil society. In fact, in commercial terms, I'm a teacher of commerce, so we say, well, they can help you in facilitating the last mile delivery. So if the government and the civil society organizations, they work in cooperation, they can actually realize this dream of, maximum happiness, maximum satisfaction. So Seva International is doing a lot of work. And the best part of it is that it is engaging with the youth. Most of its volunteers are the youth. So we are very happy to have with us Vani from Seva International, and her colleague also from here. Please give them an applause, and she will be making a presentation, and whatever query you have, whatever interaction, whatever suggestion, or in whatever way you feel that you would like to be connected with this kind of an initiative, if it can be started in your countries. In some of the countries, of course, they must be working already. So they'll give you, an overview of Seva International, and then we will throw the floor open for interaction from your side. And at the end of this workshop, we also, have a certificate of participation, of appreciation, which of course will be presented by the dignitaries here. So over to you, Vani, for this program.
You see, I invited you people to comment on what I said. If you give me 2, 3 minutes, anybody who wants to say something, because I would not want to go back home incomplete without your views. Yes? Any one of you, please stand up and tell me. Even you can do it. No, I will have to leave. So, anyone, show me your energy, please. Yeah.
So, I'm at Seva International. I'm the manager for legal and research, and I've traveled across the world. I've been in Europe, I've lived in London, Geneva, Hague, and in these countries, I've met the Indian diaspora. And as an Indian who's going abroad, having an experience of a very different country with different language and culture, It is always, I've seen that it is the diaspora that connects us, that supports us and guides us. And I've had that feeling. So, to be able to be here and to have you all here and to at least give you some sense of what the work that India is planning to do and to become a leader, I think I am trying to, uh, kind of repay the kindness that I got from the Indian diaspora in these countries. So thank you.
Very good. One more, just one more. Say something. Say something. How would they count on you then? One of us, say something. Stand up. Gopalji, give her a write-up. Say something, say something.
Okay, introduce yourself.
It happens like this. I know. Then you start. Yes.
Okay, good evening. I'm good evening. I'm Jayashree from Malaysia, and for me, what is my point of view is this diaspora program is a very good program, and for me, this gives me a lot of knowledge and also a lot of new thoughts about India.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start the next part. One more. Yeah.
Actually, I just have a question. I just have a question. My name is Nicole,
You
by
have a
the way.
question?
Yes.
I thought you would give me the answer of my question. Please continue.
I want to know what are some of the other initiatives that the organization has that is currently connecting diaspora. What are you working on at the moment? And I think having an idea of that would give us a better understanding of along which lines we should be thinking.
Good that you asked that question, but I thought Gopalji in his introduction did mention that. Yes. We have 4 pillars of Diaspora Research and Resource Center. First pillar is, unless you have data, you can do nothing. Yes, you need to know people first. So first pillar is data. Create database of diaspora all over the world, and also the institutions in India that are working on diaspora. Yes, and once we do that, we already have done it. Put it online, which means every one of you can have access to who is doing what. Yes? Then you have an idea. Flag your idea. It will automatically go to everyone. And then they will be able to generate a discussion on that idea. Yes? 1. Number 2, as my colleague mentioned, we wanted to make a qualitative shift in dealing with diaspora matters. It was a lot of celebration. We'll do Diwali, we'll do Ganesh Puja, we'll do this, we'll do that. But we were not really entering the phase of serious research on diaspora matters. For me, diaspora is importantly culture, but for me, diaspora is economics. Diaspora is technology. Diaspora is higher education. Diaspora is politics. Yes? Is geopolitics. Now, how can we limit ourselves only to one aspect? So, a serious research into how diaspora can really push in their energy into this whole comprehensive platform of nation building. Yes? Where there will be everything. Yeah? And then publications. Yes? We thought in case you have an article, a book, which you are thinking of publishing, we would help you publish that. Yes? And we will take charge of that. We'll pay for it also. Yes? And then is the actual contact with diaspora. Like we are doing it now. We host a lot of international organizations to discuss diaspora matters. In fact, have a look at these books. These 2 books are there, but we have many more books. But these books are basically outcomes of those conferences. Yes? One of them is End of Indenture, where we had a lot of people speaking about this. what this really meant for diaspora, and these are compilation of those presentations. Then Mahatma Gandhi and diaspora. Now, how can we forget Mahatma Gandhi when we talk about diaspora? Yes? So, we hosted a full international conference on Mahatma Gandhi and diaspora, and we had a lot of scholars who spoke about this, and this book is basically a compilation of those presentations. And then, as I said, our, our final goal, which we have just begun in a way, that is involving Indian universities, regular universities, in diaspora matters. You know, still the universities are not aware of the potential of diaspora. And they are the youth, your counterparts. Yes? So we are pushing this idea that most of the important universities must have a little capsule, maybe 20 days, 15 days, where we'll organize diaspora capsules for Indian students, showing them the relevance of diaspora, as I said, sociology, politics, economics, technology, and all, etc. History, in fact, diaspora is part of Indian history. Yes? So these are our pillars, and we would want to create what is called discussion groups on particular themes, where interested diaspora members would be able to join those groups and give their inputs for generating a valuable, workable idea. Without idea, nothing happens. Yes? And you are the resource people for those ideas for us. Yes? Did I answer your question? Yes. Okay. So I gave your permission
As much time you can spend.
All.
आप क्या देंगे? Excellency, if you are comfortable there, that's okay.
Okay, great. This works. Hello, everybody. Namaste. Okay. First of all, namaste and thank you to the honorable dignitaries for their amazing and inspiring words. Mudgalji, you said that, the diaspora needs to engage. And before this session started, I committed to him that this is going to be the fun part of the session. So I would need a lot more participation from you all. This is the part where we discuss, we ideate, right? And one of the ways that Mudgalji said that the diaspora can connect with India and the Indian communities is through work with NGOs, right? I know you've gone across the country, you've seen different people, different cultures, you've had a lot of exposure. So before we begin, a little small clip of 3 minutes, and then we'll start with the session, okay? A little bit more energy, please. Yes, okay, great. Should we close the lights? Would that be better? Can we? Yeah. हो पाएगा क्या? हाँ. Yeah, we can start.
Everyone has hopes, dreams, and wishes for a better world. But at Seva, every day is about recognizing the power of these simple aspirations and working towards fulfilling them. Run by the local people for the betterment of their fellow neighbors, Seva International touches the lives of millions every day. They also encourage people to work in a unified manner, using naturally available resources and in keeping with the traditions and practices of these local communities. Seva has provided several platforms to enable people to volunteer wherever they are and in whichever way possible through various initiatives spearheaded by the organization. The work is endless and the opportunities to serve galore. Stretching over the ever-changing vast landscapes of both India and the world, Seva International has reached out to underprivileged and disaster-affected communities in varying capacities. Firm believers in the tradition of Seva Hi Parmo Dharma, the organization strives to serve humanity by promoting volunteer and civic engagement around the world.
Thank you. This year, Seva International is celebrating 25 years of service. And the very idea of Seva International began with the Indian diaspora. It was the Indian diaspora that contributed to the conceptualization of Seva International and the work that we do. From the beginning of it. So Seva International has, the basic tenet of Seva International is promoting volunteerism. So may it be in India, may it be across the world, people who want to contribute and work for other people, we wish to connect them all and promote volunteerism within them. Now our tagline, Seva Hi Parmo Dharma. What is Seva? Seva in itself is a Hindi word. What does Seva mean? Service, correct. Seva is service. So Seva Hi Parmo Dharma means service is the ultimate duty or religion. Seva Hi Parmo Dharma. So every person who exists today, for us, who's working at Seva, who's working anywhere in the world, for other people, that is the highest duty that you can do as an individual, as a human being. Seva International vision is to live in a world of equality where everyone is happy, enjoys good health, has equal growth opportunities, and lives in balance with nature. And our mission is to serve humanity in distress, aid local communities, and promote volunteerism. So our project, so Seva International is not just an organization, it is a movement. Seva is a movement that is being run across 25 countries in the world, where we work for the people in those countries, where we connect the diaspora. So the journey of Seva International began from the Latur earthquake in Maharashtra. So the Latur earthquake was one of the biggest disasters that happened to India. And at that time, the diaspora across the world recognized the impact that it had on the people of those communities. And they came together to support that community. So they raised funds, they came to India to support those communities. And from that, the idea of an organization that works for communities in distress began. And it was an idea in which Indian diaspora across the world keeps connecting with the country, with our countrymen, and they keep supporting us in various capacities and in various capacities that they can. In 1997, Seva International was founded as a not-for-profit trust with the Indian ethos of Seva Hi Parmo Dharma and Vasudev Kutumbakam. Does anybody know what Vasudev Kutumbakam means? What does it mean? Anybody? I can't hear you. I'm here and I can't hear you. Anybody? One person? Yes. Yes. So the world is one family. And on that basis, with these two Indian ethos, Seva International journey was started. We support disaster rescue, relief, and rehabilitation activities leading to community resilience through long-term development projects with active volunteer engagement. A lot of words, a very long sentence. Basically, it means that we not just support disaster relief rehabilitation efforts, but we look at creating resilience within those communities through volunteer engagement, and then developing projects which have long-term impact rather than just short-term impact. Our focus areas are primarily healthcare, community-based livelihood, disaster management, environment, education, and skill development. Our presence is in various countries. Does anybody see their country represented on this map? How many? I know that. So we have Trinidad and Tobago, we have Suriname, we have Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, South Africa. So these are the places where Seva International has its chapters, where we are working and supporting the communities. These are Indian diaspora individuals who have started these chapters in these countries. And this is Seva in disaster management. So you can see from 1993 Latur earthquake to the recent, we have it till 2021, but in 2022 we had the Kerala floods where we have supported. We also had Telangana floods where we have supported. So these are the various Seva in disaster management. We have supported in cloudburst, earthquake, tsunami was also a part where we had supported in relief, rescue, rehabilitation. Cyclones are also some of the disasters in which we have supported. So we have the Bhuj earthquake, which happened in the area of Kutch. In 2001, we had tsunami, which impacted Tamil Nadu in 2004. Jammu and Kashmir earthquake, which impacted in 2005. Kosi floods, Uttarakhand floods, and Kerala floods. You can see the data within these various disaster management activities that were conducted, where we have either supported with health, ensuring access to health in those times. We have supported with long-term rehabilitation. We have supported with relief, where we have provided food and other essentials to those communities in those times, as well as rescue operations have also been conducted by our volunteers. We work, as I've already mentioned, we work in 4 areas: community-based livelihood, environment, disaster management, health care, and education and skill development. And we work across these sustainable development goals, 2030 agenda that we have. Now we come to COVID Seva. So How many of you supported activities during COVID? You did. Anybody else? Two people? What were some of the activities or interventions that you undertook? Right, wait. Let me come.
We had a vaccine campaign, and I helped there to help people um, get vaccinated. Yeah.
And you, ma'am?
Hello, I'm one of a non-profit NGO member also, and I worked as a vaccination volunteer at vaccination center, and also we provide from our organization we provide masks, sanitizer, and few other foods for the COVID patients, and also who got affected from the COVID.
Great work. One more question. What were some of the challenges that your countries faced during COVID? Anybody who can just give me one or two challenges that your countries might have faced, that you saw, that people were facing? Anybody? Yes.
In Trinidad and Tobago, a lot of people were not working, so there were a lot of families that suffered for food. So Sewa in Trinidad organized a food drive, and on good days we were actually able to organize about 3,000 hampers in one day and distribute them on the same day. It was a very well organized collective effort between Sewa and the community. And 3,000 is a lot for our population. Our population is small.
Can we have a round of applause for people who supported in COVID? Any other challenges? Anybody? I said we have to make it interactive. I can't be the only person who's talking. Anybody? I think you want to say something. Or you're being egged by your friends to say something.
Like in our country, there were like
Which country?
I'm from Suriname, and there were like not so many places in the hospitals, and there were like not that much that um, like oxygen. So a lot of people like died because there were no places for them.
So some of the challenges that were mentioned, from people losing their livelihoods to oxygenation, was a huge problem. That is something that India faced too. And with a population as huge as India does, we had a lot of more complex challenges as well. So one of the key partners that Seva International engaged with was the diaspora. And the Indian diaspora across the world, when India was facing the problem of oxygenation, where there weren't enough oxygen in the country to help the patients, we had 9,600 oxygen concentrators sent from US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, where they were purchased there and they were delivered to India here. And you'll be surprised to know that most of the concentrators were kept in this very building. When you go up in the hall, we had concentrators lined up. We had various machines, ventilators, BiPAP, CPAP machines, all of those kept here and in other warehouses, and were distributed across the country. So we had 9,600 concentrators brought in with the support of MEA. And 12,000 accessories. We had 1 lakh health and hygiene kits made. 273 ventilators were delivered and distributed. BiPAP and CPAP machines, ration kits, pulse oximeters. These are all machines needed during COVID, and the diaspora raised funds. They sent those machines and all those machines to India. Harshadji? And through the support of the diaspora, we were able to support around 1,29,134 plus households in the country across 28 states with more than 1,000 volunteers were engaged. So as you can see, these are some of the data where we had transgender beneficiaries as well. Children, women were also benefited. We all know about the Russia-Ukraine war, right? Yes. Yes. Seva International, through its chapters in Europe, supported the crossing of the border of around 35,000 plus students, where we were in. So it was humanitarian relief effort. We were providing support to those students crossing borders, helping them cross borders, making camps, refugee camps on those borders, and having them come back to India. So Seva Europe played a major role. So Indian diaspora there supported this effort of ours. We worked across 18 plus cities. We received a request on our Seva helpline, as well as 184 volunteers were engaged in Europe to support this effort. So this is some of the way in which the diaspora has engaged across the world in their own capacities. And it has been inspiring to see how much of the youth has engaged with Seva International and our movement. So now I'll come to the part where I'm going to be discussing some of the key activities that we're doing in the country. To give you a sense of the work that we do when I talk about long-term rehabilitation or development projects, when we come to agri-based livelihood, we have integrated fish farming activities that are happening. Community farming, where we bring together communities and have them farm together rather on individual farmlands. Seva Krishi Sansadhan Kendra, which is basically, these are centers which have cutting edge technology to support farmers in various parts of the country. Seed Bank, which is a very unique initiative from Seva International, where we use traditional as well as modern methods to preserve seeds, so that the farmers do not need to buy these seeds, but they can grow it themselves from the very crop that they have. So this is some of the activities. We have Harela, where we integrate various methods and technologies into farming and create model farms. We have non-farm based livelihood, where we work with woolcraft, micro enterprise development. So we support individuals who wish to develop enterprises. We give them funding. We support them with the training that they require. We also support transgender communities. I had spoken about the Bhuj earthquake. So the Bhuj earthquake impacted the area of Rann of Kutch. And the Kutch community, which are basically artisans, were affected. So we supported them in building resilience and to be able to build livelihood. So Kutch Craft is one of that project. Sanitation, health, and empowerment of COVID-affected families is another project. And Seva Mahila Jyoti is basically where we create groups of females and we have them work on various crafts, where they learn these crafts and they start selling those crafts as well. In healthcare, we have menstrual hygiene awareness. Seva Arogyam is another very unique initiative, which is basically a mobile medical unit. So if you're aware, the Himalayan region is very, very mountainous and very inaccessible. You have villages which are at the top of the mountain, and the people and the villagers have to come down and they have to come into the city to be able to access even basic, even basic healthcare facilities, such as, getting your blood pressure checked, or, even if you need medicines. So the Seva Arogyam is one of the initiatives where we have a medical van which travels up to all those villages, and we provide them support and we provide them accessibility to healthcare facilities. SHAPE is another project where we are supporting public health centers. So these are centers in various districts, and we support them and the sub-centers in providing them with machines and training. Seva Swasthya Samiti, so this is very interesting. We have groups of females and children formed where we support them in understanding hygiene and sanitation. So this is a behavioral change initiative. And adolescent health groups, again, these are groups wherein the girls and all the boys they come together, form groups.
Let's give a big welcome to the Ambassador of the Republic of Suriname, His Excellency Mr. Arun Kumar Hardeen. Welcome, sir.
Right. So these are some of the initiatives, and then we come to education and skill development. Akshar Bharati libraries. In the villages of India, schools, we have schools, but we don't have books. We don't have, we don't have those facilities that can engage the young minds. So Akshar Bharati is basically a library on wheels, where it goes across the country and it goes to villages, supporting them and providing them with books. So this is one of the initiatives. Bal Panchayat is another where we engage the young children in various activities to develop their various social, emotional, and cognitive skills. School adoption program, scholarship for the children of army personnel, sponsor a child program, and Seva Yuva Udyami Kendra, which is basically a center for skill development for the youth. Environment, we have eco-friendly acrylic plate making, which is being done where we make disposable plates. And then we have Pravasi. So in the Himalayan region, rejuvenation of the Himalayan springs is a key issue because there's a lot of pollution, there's a lot of garbage. So how do we support the communities to be able to dispose their garbage off properly and to rejuvenate these springs? That is one of the projects in environment. So these are some of the projects that we do across the country, specifically in certain locations such as the Himalayan region or the Kutch area. And in the last 2 years, we have done various events wherein we bring in people, especially the diaspora, to see the kind of work that Seva International is doing. So we have the International Seva Baitak, wherein all the chapters across the world come together, discuss, ideate on what are the challenges that they face within their countries, learn from each other on how we can resolve those issues, and how do we support the communities better. We have conducted 2 conferences, one on disaster management, another on human trafficking and exploitation, wherein we brought in experts and we engaged with the students and the youth on how they can contribute to these issues. We then have Umeed Ke Sur, which was an online fundraiser. So we are just ending the presentation. Yeah. So this is Seva in Media, where we have had various media coverage of the work that we have done. These are our executive body members who are experienced in themselves with the work that they have done with the communities, as well as the work and guide the work of Seva International and various chapters. And these are some of our partners in India and outside as well with some of our initiatives. So we have NASCOM, ONGC, Oracle, NSDC, AXA Life Insurance. And this is our office address. You can contact us at our email ID if you ever want to get in touch on how you can promote volunteerism, how you can engage with Seva International specifically, Seva International in your chapters or in your countries, chapters that we have. I know I've given this presentation and this part has been boring, I know. So now we'll get to the real part where we're going to ideate. You have heard some of the work that Seva International does. And it is interesting where we have done some work which is very unique, and we have replicated some work which the government or some other organizations have been doing. How do you think, from your experience that you've had in the last 21 or I'd say 19 days, that you've met people, you've seen India, how do you think you could support the people in India? And how could Seva International support you in your countries? So these are two questions, anybody who would like to answer. And we are getting into the discussion part of it. So I want ideas. Anyone? No takers?
Let me put it like this. How many of you would, is somebody speaking? Yeah, please. Those are microphones.
Good afternoon. In terms, from what I've seen over the past, so we say 3 weeks or 2 weeks and a half, there are a lot of artisanal skills set here, especially in the villages. It's similar to my country in Guyana, and I think there could be a lot of knowledge transfer and skill transfer in terms of workshops to build capacity to equip people with skills in villages. I think like an exchange program could work in that way. That's one of the way I see that the diaspora and India could work together, or the Seva International and the diaspora could work together to get people and improve their skills.
Great, thank you so much. Any other thoughts? Anyone? So exchange program for artists could be one way in which we engage. Any other ideas? You have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Albert Inchinali from Guyana. I must say that even though Sewa is in Guyana, it took me all the way to India to learn about this organization because I was not aware of it. So I just looked it up on social media, on Facebook, and one of the posters I see says Hindus for Selfless Service. And I'm wondering, is Sewa religiously affiliated? And also for Indian youth in the diaspora who are not Hindus and may not necessarily want to be affiliated with a volunteer organization that is religiously based, how would you be able to bridge that gap and to encourage others to join if it's not religiously based? And if it is, do you think it's a hindrance to what you're trying to accomplish in getting more persons to join? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. No, Seva International is not religiously affiliated. We do not discriminate when it comes to supporting beneficiaries and individuals. And that can be seen from the work that we do in India as well as in other countries. We do have programs that support certain religious communities, right? It is not that we are religiously affiliated, but we do have programs which support and talk about issues that they might be facing. And when you talk about whether that could be a hindrance, that is not the case. Because if you are a religious minority in a country, come forward, work with Seva, and do work that you want to do. So when I joined Seva International, I also did not know about the work of Seva International. But having joined the organization, the work that people do here, I have realized that you connect with people, and Seva International gives you the space to bring up projects, to bring up ideas, and then it supports you to take that further. So that is one thing on which, if you are from a religious minority, come work with Seva International and develop projects that support your community. Hindus in India might be a large community, but Hindus in other countries, just like Muslims and Christians, are minorities. So don't judge Seva International just on the basis of a poster. Come work with us and see the work that we do. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to speak from my own experience in Trinidad and Tobago, Albert. You don't need to worry. We don't discriminate against anyone. so my experience is that people from all different religious backgrounds join in the social work that we do, and Muslims, Christians, Hindus, it's all inclusive. So come on, Albert, you join us.
Any other questions, queries that you might have? No? Any ideas? Yes, you have an idea.
Salutation and a very good evening. According to the experience I have gone through, and I would like to share something. During this COVID-19 season in Malaysia, we conduct with the Minds Association of Penang, we do take care of the person with disabilities. And I find these two issues, which is women empowerment and some sort of supporting system for the employability rate to the person with disability, should be also needed to be taken care by the Seva International. Maybe you can explain more if there's any initiative. If no, maybe it could be a good start for Seva International to focus on how we can improve or increase the employability rate for the person with disabilities, one. And second, for the woman empowerment in sort of literacy, in terms of how we want to educate them in terms of political participation, or how women can take part actively in economics in India especially. So that's from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. So Seva International does support persons with disabilities. Seva International movement is not just the organization. So in the area of disaster management, you realize that when a disaster strikes, it is usually the community which is the first responder. It is the community that supports each other. So Seva International is not just an organization that goes and says, okay, we will work in this disaster. We have our partners. And across the country, we have more than 1,500 partner organizations that we support with either skill training, with capacity building, with fundraising, and various other development, if you want to develop a project, we support them with that. So when we talk about person with disabilities, not only we support them during disaster management and various initiatives, but also through our partner organizations. So when you work with Seva, you're not just working with Seva International, you're working with 1,500 partner organizations working in villages, districts, state, national level, and you connect with all of them, you learn from all of them, the work that they do, and you bring that home and it changes you and also the community around you. And for women empowerment, when you talk about literacy, so we are conducting a digital literacy program in the villages where we teach women on how to use the mobile phone, computers, how to go to the bank, to the ATM, and to be able to, support themselves. We have self-help groups. Now, these are very interesting concepts where women, who are housewives usually come together, who are not employed. Women who are not employed come together in groups, and they support each other in finance. So they pool in their money and they help one of the member or two of the members with the money that they've raised. And then they do savings, they have their own savings from that, they put interest, and from that, they start their own enterprises, they create federation where 2 or 3 district SHG members come together and they create a federation. And we also have a company from those federation members that's called Him Sampada, which is based in the Himalayas, which works specifically on Himalayan products. So may it be medicinal, Ayurvedic medicines, or it may be, grains, and it might be any of the products that they're developing. It goes through Himsampada, which sells these and gives the money back to those female farmers and the beneficiaries. So we are doing amazing work. Obviously, SHG is a model that works here in India. It could be an idea that you would want to adopt in your own countries, where you could empower women, you could give them digital literacy as well. Anybody else has any ideas on good practices that might be there in your country that you think might be something somebody else can learn from? No one? No good ideas, good practices on how to support the communities better?
Yeah. In the list of things that you had, that I know of that we do in Trinidad that I didn't see on the list is the donation of blood. So we do a lot of voluntary blood drives in Trinidad. It's on a regular basis, usually monthly, and we get a good turnout, about 40 to 50 pints sometimes. So, and I think recently Sewa in Trinidad purchased a mobile unit so that they could go to different areas and collect blood instead of having people come to them. They go to the people. So that's something that other places, other countries could look at.
That's a really good idea. We do that here in India as well. Any other ideas? Anybody else would want to think of having a blood drive? Yes.
Hello. What I didn't see here is about the spots. Is spots? Spots. Sports.
Right.
Is that Seva International is providing any codes or free trainings on the sports?
No. So we support children through Bal Panchayats and various other activities where we get them engaged in sports, but we don't specifically support them in their training to become professional sports persons. Is that something that happens in your country?
Yes, actually, my organizations, I'm involving in an organization which is United Malaysian Hindu Voice, and also we are supporting all the students in the field of education, sports, welfare, youth development, healthcare, and everything.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I don't hear voices from the back from this side. Because of the camera person, you're hidden, but I can see you. Any one of you? If it means I have to come and give you the mic, I'll do that as well.
Hello. Is there any cleanup campaign or like awareness program on rubbish collection, not polluting the environment?
Yes, there is. So Prava that you saw for the environment, that is one of that activity where we get the community together and we go and we clean up the springs. So it's a very treacherous area. So we get the community that lives there. They know how to move in that area to help take out all the plastic waste, and then we do that forward linkage of that. So we collect that and we send it to other organizations who can then either create products or make other use of it. So we do that in the Himalayan region.
What about inland?
Inland, we support organizations who do this. So we have various organizations. So you have the Yamuna cleanup that happens. You have in Mumbai and Goa organizations who do beach cleanup. So that is something we do support, but it's not Seva International, but the partner organizations that do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, in the back, I've still not forgotten. Can somebody please pass the mic? Any thoughts, anything?
As a government worker, in our country, we do promote self-sufficient families. That means we do provide crops and seeds to them to cultivate. So I think uh, even I didn't know that Seva International is there in Sri Lanka. So if you could promote that kind of charity work with Seva International, it will be really a good idea.
Sure. I have one question for you. Since you said you're a government employee, how does your government collaborate with NGOs or CSOs for that matter?
I'm not sure about that.
You're not sure. Okay, is that something that you'd want to learn and see how you could support NGOs?
Of course. I always wanted to do some volunteering works, but I don't find time actually.
How much is that true for the people here that you want to do volunteer work but you don't find time? You're a very honest person. Anybody else? Everybody is volunteering somewhere or the other? Yes? Okay. Where do you volunteer, ma'am? Or what volunteer work have you done? Oh, really amazing. That is also something that Seva International does. We support animal husbandry and we support veterinary care for animals. Ma'am, do you do volunteer work? Yes. You do not. You don't have the time? So if you would want to do volunteer work, which area would you like to do that in? Environment? Okay, great. So which country are you from? Myanmar? Great. If if you want to connect with Seva, we might have a chapter there. Yes.
Thanks. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to change the way how people behave, but just to influence them to become productive members of society as men, which time after time have been severely neglected in Trinidad and Tobago, especially.
So how do you do that?
What I do, I spend a lot of time in orphanages through activities like sports and cutting here and just talking to them and getting to know them and building a relationship with them to gain that trust, essentially to get them to understand what are some of the do's and do nots. I'm not doing it in a big way, I'm doing it on a personal level. And so this is how I am contributing to my society in a sense. Yeah.
Just to ask you a question, which country are you from?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago. So your country would have specific help services for these orphan children?
So we do have a lot of foundations. Yeah. Yeah, so we also have a lot of NGOs and government institutions for mostly at-risk youth. But I think sometimes, although there's that foundation, there's that initiative, there's a gap from them, the kids being there to what next, how do we continue to maintain, how do we continue to promote positive growth and productivity in these young men, So that's why I think I kind of want to help as much as I can.
Oh, that's amazing. So the thing is, Seva, I'm using the term Seva for service, not Seva International. When we talk about service, you needn't do something big, and you needn't do it from an organization only. You can do it on an individual level, and you can do it even if you can contribute to the life of one person. I think that in our lifetime is going to be a huge achievement in itself. Any other closing thoughts here? Any aspirations that you would have if you're inspired by anything, because I know.
Hi, I'm Niroshi from Sri Lanka. Can you hear me? Do this. Just okay. Yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm Niroshi from Sri Lanka. I like if Seva International or some. I'm sorry, I'm not sure about the name. Can help at least one homeless person per month to upgrade their lifestyle. I mean, living standards. Focus on that person and doing some specific things to that person to upgrade their lifestyle and living standards. It's in my opinion, if we provide food for like 100 homeless people once, it's okay. It's only for that moment, right? But if we help them to improve their life standards, at least for one person, it's very worthy. That's my opinion. It's my suggestion. I think you like this. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. I know it wasn't as engaging as I'd imagined, but I hope you guys got to learn something in terms of the work that you could do in your own communities, work that you could help support here in India. Our information is there. You can give us, you can send us an email and we'll connect you with your chapter organizations of Seva International. Or if you wish to come to India again and work here with the people, then we'll be very, very happy to support you in that. So I would not say goodbye. I would say see you again, because I'm hoping you guys are going to come back and you're going to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Vani. You have given us an overview of what Seva International is doing, and I'm sure that our friends will get motivated in volunteerism. It's not important that you connect with Seva International. You can do, that volunteering in your own country, in whatever organizations you feel comfortable with, or do it at a standalone level. The whole idea is that, you see, Seva hi paramo dharma. That is the supreme dharma, is the service. And as Mahatma Gandhi used to say, Nar Seva, Narayana Seva. The service to humanity is the service to God. That, you see, is the point. One only point that I would like to make, our young friend from Sri Lanka, I believe, she said that they don't have the time. I only want to add here that, you see, the technology has now made it possible for us to tackle this issue of time and our areas of interest. In my educational institution, what we did was that we started a portal in which you can actually register yourself, and then you can indicate, like, I have time only on Saturday between 5 and 7 in the evening. I have time only in the morning between 5 and 6 o'clock. No problem. Whatever time you have, you register yourself, and whatever area of interest you have. Now, one of the students said that I want to teach, music, because, he used to play good music. So he said that I want to teach. So, now, if a person who wants to teach music, you tell him that you go and start distributing books or other things, he may not be interested. So the idea is that you have a platform, develop a platform in your own countries, amidst your own societies, in your WhatsApp groups, in which people can indicate their convenience of time, their areas of interest, and then, you see, as an effort, we can engage them to, to motivate them to volunteer in whatever manner it can be done. That, you see, was the whole idea, that you work for your, like what they say, that you make a living, out of the earning that you make, but you make a life out of the service that you do for others. So that, you see, is the core point that we do. Each of us should, whatever little time we can devote. We all here do volunteering basically. We are not paid employees here. So we are all engaged in our own individual, service or profession. But we come here because we feel that it is important, and that is our areas of interest. So with that, we, close the inaugural session. Thank you very much for that. And the chair of this closing session is Ambassador Virendra Gupta. Sir, can we start straight away? Wonderful. Thank you very much. And in between, we have been joined by the High Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago, His Excellency Dr. Roger Gopal. Let's give a big hand to Dr. Roger Gopal. And we are also joined by Shri Nilesh Kumarji from the High Commission of Fiji, and Ms. Nishantini Victor from the High Commission of Sri Lanka, Ms. Sitol from the Embassy of Suriname, Ms. Khan from the High Commission of Guyana. We welcome you all in this program. And to start the closing session, I start with a customary felicitation. May I request our own volunteers at ARSP? I request Ambassador Virendra Gupta to kindly felicitate Excellency Mr. Charan Das Prasad, the High Commissioner of Guyana, by presenting a Angavastram. And here, sir. And we also have some publications, publications of DRRC. There is a Gita also. Sir, the book's here. And I now invite Shri Narayan Kumarji, Honorary Director. Shri Narayan Kumarji, I invite you to please felicitate Ambassador of Suriname, Excellency Mr. Arun Kumar Hardeen, with the Angavastram and the books. चंदोला सर आप आइए, आप तो बड़े अच्छे हैं, लकी हैं आप. We have a veteran member, Mr. Dayanand Chandola. You see, a long time associate with the ARSB. He has come specially for this program from Dehradun. So I invite him to felicitate Excellency Dr. Roger Gopal. Ambassador Virendra Gupta, I'll again request you to please felicitate Ambassador Ms. Manika Jain. नारायण जी, आपको मैं फिर एक बार रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि नीलेश जी को आप फेलिसिटेट करें. रुचि, आप हैं यहाँ पे. रुचि इज अवर रिसर्च फेलो. शी इज डूइंग ग्रेट वर्क. आप पहले आप करेंगे. रुचि, आप फेलिसिटेट करेंगी मिस निशांतिनी विक्टर को. ब्राइटी, हमारे बीच में मिस सिताल हैं एम्बेसी ऑफ सुरीनाम से. आप काइंडली फेलिसिटेट हर. एंड इज बेला देयर? बेला इज देयर? Okay, so Ruchi, we have Miss Khan here from the High Commission of Guyana. Let's acknowledge her presence. Welcome, madam. Welcome. Ruchi, आप इधर आएं. Sir, you take your seats. So, sir, who will take the first honor from this gentleman? So what I'll do is we'll start with the chair and then for you, sir. All right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dear guests, we are overwhelmed, by your presence. It's really great to have you amongst us. And now I hand over the proceedings to the chair of this session, Ambassador Virendra Gupta ji. Sir, over to you. The session is yours now.
Thank you, Gopalji. I would first of all like to welcome all the delegates of this No India program. It's after a very long time, after nearly 2.5 years, that we have the pleasure of welcoming a group. You know that we all were ravaged by COVID. It is not officially over, but I think we're beginning to come out of it. The very fact that we can meet together in a large group like that, thank God for it. We had all seen a very difficult time, and I think eventually the human spirit prevails, whatever the odds are. I'm also extremely delighted, in fact, honored that so many senior diplomatic colleagues, representatives have joined here, uh, including His Excellency the High Commissioner of Republic of Guyana, His Excellency the Ambassador of Suriname, His Excellency the High Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago. And I welcome them with a sense of great personal attachment, because I spent 4 very good years of my diplomatic career in Trinidad and Tobago, which remains such a wonderful part of my memory. I'd also like to welcome our good friend Nilesh. We've seen him many times. Thank you very much for coming again. And Ms. Nishantini Victor of Sri Lankan High Commission. Congratulations for your team having picked up the Asia Cup. And in the process, beaten teams of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. So well done. And I'm also, in fact, very privileged to welcome Mrs. Manika Jain, Additional Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs. And I'd like to thank her for giving ARSP this opportunity of conducting a small program for KIP delegation. I think we were talking about Seva. We were talking about the service. Let me remind you that we are not a spiritual organization, nor are we doing any moralizing. But when we talk about Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which is our motto, we are very conscious, firstly, that it is human instinct to look after one's self-interest. An individual looks after his self-interest. A country also looks after its national interest. And there's nothing wrong in it. But the problem arises when you pursue that narrow confine of self-interest or national interest without having due regard for a broader idea, broader picture. Sometimes, and I don't need to go over it in any detail, we all know how countries have made terrible mistakes, have landed into terrible tragedies by pursuing some issue of self-interest in very narrow, rigid perspective. Since our ambassador from Trinidad is here, I'd like to relate a small incident. When I was there, shortly after my arrival, I went to see the American ambassador, and I asked him about the activities of Muslimin. At that time, I don't know what is happening now, but at that time, it was impacting very badly on the interests of the people of Indian origin. They were indulging in kidnappings, extortions, all kinds of problems were there. American ambassador told me point blank that they were not bothered about the activities of Muslimin. Why? Because they had an understanding with them that Muslimin will not impact on America's interest. And that is why they were not concerned about Muslimin. This exactly 10 days later, the Twin Towers in New York came crashing down. And the world became aware of how one terrorist organization, radical organization which was responsible, Al-Qaeda, had networking links with all kinds of organizations, and I would not be surprised if they also had some networking connection with Muslimin. Uh, well, anyway, I'd like to welcome you, and I'd like to say that keep the broader picture in mind all the time. Uh, Pursue your self-interest, and if you do so, then you realize that your interest lies in the broader interest of your own community, your own neighborhood. If you don't take care of this earth that we live on, then at some point in time, our interests will begin to impact very negatively. I find that there are representatives of so many different countries. Uh, this program has basically been designed as an outreach with the Indian diaspora. And I'm so happy that our policy for the Indian diaspora has evolved over a period of time. Well, the whole world is changing. There was a time that there was relative indifference. The government of India was indifferent to the diaspora. Diaspora was indifferent towards its own country of origin because India was a poor country. India was a weak country. And our diaspora, people who left India in search of jobs, in search of opportunities, they did not feel any sense of pride in associating with the country of their origin. So it was something that they would best forget. Of course, people in Germitia countries, those who went as indentured labor, and those who over a period of time transformed themselves, they were an exception to the rule. If you look at how 50 years ago, 40 years ago, in the 60s, 70s, how people of Indian origin or NRIs looked at India in America and how they looked at while being in Guyana and Trinidad, there's a world of a difference. But I think over a period of time, this picture has been completely transformed because India is now a rising country. India stands for technology. India has made a name for itself. And we have lived by certain values which I think are broadly accepted by the world. India's culture has been very rich. It is widely accepted that we are a picture of multiculturalism, pluralism, which is really what is the ideal for any society. Because today, no society is monochromatic. Every society, whether you talk about America, whether you talk about Europe, everywhere there are people of different religion, different ethnicity, and I think you have to begin to accept everybody's point of view, and in that sense, India provides a way for dealing with the conflicts. We have so many conflicts going on in the world. India doesn't have the capacity. India doesn't have the resources to be able to resolve these problems. There are very large countries at work. But I think even though we do not have the capacity, we can show the way by the principles that we uphold, by the values that we cherish. And I think as I see most of the people in the KIP, you people of Indian origin. So I think it should give you a sense of pride being a person of Indian origin because you represent a great culture. You represent an extremely tolerant society. And it is because of this tolerance that we in India today see this kind of vibrance, how different faiths and different ethnic groups and different cultural activities and different religions have thrived. So with these few words, I'd like to once again thank all of you for coming to Pravasi Bhavan. We take great degree of pride in having connected and having created an outreach with the people of Indian origin abroad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Gupta ji. Uh, it is indeed a pleasure, to have you amongst us, and I may share this information that in this delegation we have 6 delegates from Guyana, 5 from Mauritius, 5 from Myanmar, 5 from Fiji, 5 from Suriname, 4 from South Africa, 4 from Sri Lanka, 3 from Trinidad and Tobago, 2 from Malaysia, and 1 from Israel. So that, you see, so that makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 countries, 40 delegates. That's a diversity of Indian diaspora. Wonderful. And, the ministry which made it possible, which implemented this program, I thank the Additional Secretary, Ambassador Manika Jainji, and I invite her to share her thoughts on this subject.
Excellencies, Charandas Prasad ji, Mr. Arun Kumar Hardin ji, Dr. Roger Gopal ji, of course, my diplomatic friends Nilesh Kumar and Ms. Nishantini Victor, Ambassador Virendra Gupta, Professor Arora, Mr. Narayan Kumar, other delegates, other distinguished members of ARSP, and of course, young delegates of 60th KIP. You know what? It's very difficult to really hold the attention of a youngster, especially post-lunch session. And when you've had distinguished speakers before you and they have already covered the areas or issues which I thought I'll speak on. So now, what I'll do is, I'm thinking of just kind of giving a little bit of background on our government's relationship with ARSP, and of course, how do we conduct our outreach with the diaspora, especially youth, and a few other things. I'll keep it short. I'm sorry. Okay, yes. So I'll keep it short. Of course, you know what ARSP does. The introduction has been given. But I would reiterate that yes, it is a new, especially the DRRC is relatively a new think tank where they do research on diaspora, which Ambassador Mudgal did talk about. He gave a very good illustration, and I would say a very, very energetic talk on what all they're doing, and not only what all they're doing, but how, the diaspora or Indian diaspora has evolved, during the past many years. Like he started from, when Indians and others started, to and fro trade, and also engagement with Southeast Asia and so on and so forth. So our interaction with DRRC is that we collaboratively do events and also seminars, events and conferences with ARSP, and I'm really thankful for that collaboration. I also thank ARSP for inviting me today to have this, to witness this session, and sometimes they've also kind of come and done an event with us at a small notice, very short notice. So I thank you, Ambassador Gupta, for this, and I hope that our collaboration with you on diaspora issues and events will further strengthen in times to come. Now also we are doing few other cultural, areas of collaboration with ICCR, which is, I wouldn't say it's an autonomous body. It's not part of Ministry of External Affairs, but you can say again, it's a council which is supported by MEA. So we do a lot of work with ARSP through ICCR. Regarding now coming to KIP, especially 60th KIP, we've done 59, you already know KIPs, and this one has come after a hiatus of a period where I would say that, all the countries and similarly India and my division has gone through through this COVID, period where things went on virtual mode. Now going from virtual to a physical mode, it has its own challenges. And perhaps I think so this group might be feeling that there are certain elements which we could not put into this, this group. See, the whole outreach engagement for KIP is that we try to give you exposure to Indian polity, our culture, our science and technology, our journey of Indian civilization to what modern India is today, and also, our various other diversity platforms. We also take you to one particular state where you get a more in-depth knowledge and exposure to how our states function, how they are doing in the development, how they are doing their economic their political leadership. You went to Goa, and I hope you enjoyed your stay, those 10 days program over there. Goa is anyway any tourist's, you can say, dream. So I hope that, that was that was a kind of well received and well thought out program. Delhi, yes, I agree, it was you did not get enough time, but before this you went to Niti Aayog, and you're coming from there. I'm sure you would have got some good, overview of what, this new organization on, progress, development and others, how we are planning and how we are taking inputs from various organizations, sources. Somebody made a comment that, government, people think government does everything. Well, government cannot do everything. And yes, we, new governance model is definitely, we take, civil society on board, whether it's non-government organizations or there are experts in the field from private sector. They also come in and they contribute to the development of and future of India. This whole program of, KIP, engaging with you and also, giving you opportunity to see what other organizations are doing, or one such being ARSP, which is working on the diaspora, is whole idea is for you to see the not only diversity, but also for you to form bridges with Indian youth, with Indian, maybe also policy makers or at least policy implementers, with Indian trade, business, and also amongst yourselves. There are 40 of you from 10 different countries. I would say I haven't traveled to most of them, but yes, Myanmar, I did one assignment for 4 years in Myanmar, and my stay over there was excellent. My work was very, very, I would say, fruitful, productive, at times challenging also, and I have very fond memories of the country. Of course, it has changed a lot since then. And I'm sure that, this tomorrow is your, of course, one of the last formal days, with us. And then we would like you to give your feedback, suggestions, or whatever about the program. I won't kind of take this platform for that. So with this, of course, coming to the diaspora program, somebody did raise the question here that what other things you do with diaspora. See, I haven't been able to interact with you that much because right now we are very, very busy with a program called Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. I'm sure you would be knowing about it because we do our missions do lot of outreach and what should I say, publicity of the program. It is a convention which is done once in 2 years, and this time we are doing after 4 years again because last time we did it virtually. It is, we celebrate the Pravasi Divas on 9th of January for obvious reasons. Mahatma Gandhi was one of the biggest Pravasis who returned to India on 9th January. It's a 3-day affair, and 1 day is given to youth. We call Youth Pravasi Divas. And that is done on day 1, day 2, and day 3 are the general Pravasi, Pravasi convention where diaspora members from across the globe, they come and they participate in it. If I'm sure you would be interested more in it, you can please kind of ask your either LO or you can ask us or whatever tomorrow, what are the elements of PBD. We'll let you know. The one is coming in January from 8th to 10th. And 8th is the youth conference again, which is largely which is done by the Ministry of Youth Affairs. So whether building bridges or some community service or some political achievement or strengthening the relationship. So there are various, criteria under which the gold, the medals award, gold awards are awarded by the Honorable President of India to those awardees. There are other elements also. We do conferences and others where we take your inputs and ideas from on various burning topics or topical interests. So this is one thing. We also run a scholarship program for Indian diaspora students who come, who can study in Indian universities. Then we have all those cultural and other shows where our missions involve Indian diaspora in celebrating various cultural and social events. We also give some kind of funding to the diaspora organizations for promoting cultural activities. So these are few things. There are many other things which we do because the question was asked here, and that is why I'm giving you some kind of a background to it. Now about the engagement, everybody has said that, and rightly so, you would say that we've heard this word quite often, Vasudev Kutumbakam. But that's a philosophy, that is where we have also underpinned our, our outreach to, not only to the world, but also to Indian diaspora. And you might be coming from any part of the world, but we consider you as one of us, as one of the family, and in that spirit, we would want that this engagement should not end, tomorrow or day after, but you should continue connecting with us, whether through various suggestions, whether through app, diaspora, or diaspora portals, or through missions, or through writing to us. So with those words, I'll say that I would be looking forward to hearing from you in future too. Thank you so much. I again thank ARSP for hosting this, and for giving an opportunity to these young Indian origin, or you can say Indian diaspora youth, for interacting with you and Seva International. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jan. Madam has given you an idea of the different schemes of the government, and that shows the seriousness of the government in engaging with the diaspora. So especially like ICCR has, it gives more than 6,000 scholarships, and in the Study India program, they have special quota for the PIO youth. So that, you see, is an important element. So you can make use of that and to connect and to understand India more. Because I'm sure one of the things I would like to ask you later on in the interaction is, like, when you came, what was your perception about India? And once you complete this whole program, then what is your perception? Is it the same, or has it changed? Anything like that. And one thing more, Madam Jan, I would like to You see, it is like for ITech program. They have, every year they have a kind of, meeting in different countries. All those who have actually participated in the ITech, they come together, embassy invites them. But I don't think that in the No India program there is any such scheme as such. Because No India program also, that in every batch you have like 5, 6 students, or youth coming from that. So we should have some kind of a meeting so that you can connect with your fellow countrymen who have been a part of any of the earlier, No India program. So thank you very much once again. So now I invite the Ambassador of Suriname, His Excellency Mr. Arun Kumar Hardeen, sir. The floor is yours. And who are all from the Suriname? Or it should have been a bigger noise now.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Virendra Gupta, President of the ARSP, Ambassador Manika Jain, Mr. Narayan Kumar, Excellencies, members of ARSP, all participants of the No India program, good afternoon, namaste, and as we say in Dutch, van harte goedemiddag. On behalf of the Embassy and the government of the Republic of Suriname, I warmly thank the government of the Republic of India for creating the No India program, providing the opportunity to citizens and or students from the so-called Girmitia countries to visit India. This is a pivotal platform for our descendants with Indian roots to set foot on Indian territory, the birthplace of our ancestors, and fully experience the culture and moreover the growth and development of India. The indentured laborers embarked on their journey to Suriname in 1873, whereas they had to perform hard and harsh labor in the flourishing sugar plantations. The significant contribution of our Parnani, Nana, Aja, and Aji has marked the social-economic development of Suriname. Generations after, the persons of Indian origin, the PIO diaspora, have evolved in a multi-ethnic, multicultural, and multi-religious society of Suriname. Fundamentally, among our brothers and sisters whom are descendants from the indigenous, African slaves, Indonesian and Chinese laborers, we have preserved our Indian values and traditions. The Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita continues to be a living story in our hearts, and it is the core of the Hindu persons of Indian origins. The celebration of Holi and Diwali has the same sentiment in our lives today as it was 150 years ago with our Purvaj originating from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and other states. We pray to Shivaji, Ramji, Hanumanji, Lord Ganesh, Goddess Lakshmi, Durga, and many more, as we are proud of our religious inheritance, our core of Indian heritage. Dear participants, I encourage you to have a positive outlook on your No India experience, which has provided you the insights of the Indian history and culture and the various development initiatives of India. Surely, this will be a wonderful memory to cherish for the rest of your life, as our roots are the foundation of our being, and additionally, you will enrich your knowledge with this KIP journey. I highly recommend you all to share your experience with the people in your respective country. I wish you all success in further endeavors in life. Thank you once again to the Ministry of External Affairs of India and the ARSP for organizing and hosting this prominent program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I may add that in 2013, your embassy actually, They helped in building a memorial in Kolkata of Baba and Mai. So those who are from Suriname, they will know about Baba and Mai. So now I have the honor of inviting His Excellency Dr. Roger Gopal, the High Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago. And you have to tell me that yes, Dr. Roger Gopal is coming. Applause.
Thank you. Greetings from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. But before I start, let me just see those of you who are from South Africa. Oh, nice. Because I served in South Africa for 5 years, and it became home to me. And I spent a lot of time in Durban. I actually received my PhD from Durban University of Technology. So I recognize South Africa as well in the house today. Greetings to all ambassadors, excellencies, high commissioners. Greetings to the head table and to all of you. Now, for those of you who remember, at least for us in Trinidad and Tobago, it was in the year 1845 when the Fatel Razak left Kolkata and sailed across the Kalipani and took with them Indians who will redefine the cultural landscape of the Western Hemisphere. For those of you who do not know, almost 50 years before Swami Vivekananda spoke in Chicago, Hindus in Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname and Guyana, in Jamaica, in Fiji and in South Africa were already doing puja and offering Hawan. That you should put your hands together for. Now, what did we take from India? All we had, for those of you who know the terms, we had our dolak, we had our dantal, we had our little harmonium, we had our little, not even Bhagavad Gita, but our Ramayana. And that was all that we took to the western shores. And then what happened over the years was of the most tragic event. We were influenced by the West to discard our names. So we did not like the names of Charandas anymore. We did not like the names of Gopal anymore. We wanted to change those names and go with names like Roger. What was happening to us, the Indians, was a westernization of the Indian civilization. And we were ashamed in school to carry roti and talkari. We were ashamed to say, yes, I am Hindu or I am Muslim. So when they ask you who you are, oh, I believe in everything. I accept everything. Where are we today? We are at a point in time where a revolution must take place. No longer are we waiting for the westernization of the Indian civilization, but we are working towards the easternization of the Western civilization. Yes. Now let me tell you, I have no longer, and I told my dear friend Sharon this, we are no longer in the business of saying what we can do for us. We are in the business of telling you, the young Indians, stand empowered. Embrace your Eastern philosophy. Because why should we learn about Aristotle and Socrates, but not yet know the work of Adi Sankaracharya? Why should we learn about the history of someone going through some river or sea that might be parted, but yet we do not know about Ganga and Saraswati? Yes, this is our history. For my history did not start in 1845. My history began in the hills of the Himalayas. It began on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It was revealed where Krishna stood and delivered the Bhagavad Gita. That is my history. That is your history. You, the young Indians of today, you have that power to now change the face of this planet and show the planet what you are worth. No longer look towards Europe. Don't look towards the UK, nor Canada, nor the US, but look towards your ancestral land and bring that knowledge forward and stand proud to be Indian. Now, this is not a political meeting, so I'm not going to ask you to vote. But what I ask you to do is to leave here with the memories of India. Long ago, when I was a little boy, my mother would put me on top of a little makeshift table while she cooked in a chulha, fireside. We were very poor. And she had a small little radio. And there was this program called the Melodies of India with Hans Hanuman sing in our country. And I remember that clearly. And I remember every time I hear this song, I remember Mom. Jowada kiya wo nibana pahega. And I would remember my mother every time we hear it. And I will ask her, what about these melodies of India? Now I ask you to take the memories of India home and let us do something about it. Rise high, rise proud, and always feel that pride of being Indian. Thank you very much. Dhanyavad.
Oh, that was really spirited. Once more, a round of applause here. Excellent, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So thank you very much for this very, very spirited address, that. And I'll tell you, every morning I get from Excellency a 15 seconds or 30 seconds, message, which is really very, very inspiring. Thank you for that also. Wonderful. So now I have the honor of inviting Nilesh Kumarji, the counselor from the High Commission of Fiji. And how many of you are from Fiji? Here. Fiji is a quite a serene place, but here you can have a bigger round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. After hearing High Commissioner Roja Gopal, I don't think I should be having that courage to speak to the audience. Respected Ambassador Virendra Gupta ji, His Excellency Mr. Charandas Prasad, High Commissioner of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Mr. Arun Kumar Hadian, Ambassador of Republic of Suriname, His Excellency Dr. Roja Gopalji, Ambassador Manika Jain, Additional Secretary, Minister of External Affairs, Ms. Nishantini Victor, Second Secretary, High Commission of Sri Lanka, New Delhi, other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Mr. Gopal Aroraji, Mr. Narayan Kumarji, and dear delegates of the various Indian diaspora countries. Good evening, Bula, and Namaste to you all. It is my pleasure in being here this afternoon to be part of this 60th Know India program, and I am very happy to see this event beginning after a lapse of 2 years, which was significantly hindered by the COVID-19. And Fiji and India, we have a very strong cultural and historical connect. Our relationship with India began 143 years back when Indians were sent to various diaspora countries, including Fiji, to work under the indentured labor scheme and also known as Girmitias. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a very long voyage when they went from here, from the port of Calcutta, heading towards their destination, which was Fiji. And I can say that their journey was very tragic. It was very challenging. They're going to a land where they had no knowledge about. But what was worth noting was that they did not take much with them, but they took with them a very rich Indian culture to Fiji. And today, we are so fortunate that this culture is still prevalent in our country we call Fiji. I was having a discussion recently because recently we had Krishna Janmashtami. So I was, because I was also actively involved when I was in Fiji, so I asked a few of my friends, how did it go? And they said, this year's Krishna Janmashtami was very well celebrated. Why? Because last year, it was very heavily impacted due to COVID-19. So this year they took all the chance, all this opportunity to celebrate it in a very big manner. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji has a very cultural, it's a multicultural country where you can see there's a great diversity between the cultures. You'll see a Hindu participating in other festivals that is being organized by other races. And so this is something that we always feel proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from the cultural and historical connect, Fiji also has a very great and deep ties with India in other areas, be it education, be it renewable energy, be it defense, be it education, be it agriculture, be it IT, and many more. So once again, I would like to extend my hearty thanks to Ministry of External Affairs for organizing this event and IRSP particularly for having this special session which provided us an opportunity in being here. And I'm sure all the delegates representing various Indian diaspora countries, you may have had some introduction, and it was an eye-opening for you. It was an experience which you will never forget, I would say, getting an opportunity to meet very high-profile and very eminent people here in India. So with these kind words, I would like to say thank you to IRSP and MEA and that they have provided an opportunity for this young youths from various countries to come and learn from India and go back and disseminate that information back to the country. Thank you so much, and dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, Nileshi. Appreciate. Now I invite Miss Nishanthini Victor from the High Commission of Sri Lanka.
Ambassador Virendra Gupta, the President of the ARSP, and Ambassador Manika Jain, Additional Secretary of the MEA, and distinguished dignitaries and students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and namaste. At the outset, let me extend my sincere thanks to Ambassador Virendra Gupta, the President of the ARSP, for inviting me to participate in the 60th Know India program under the theme of Building Diaspora Youth Network. The High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to India, His Excellency Mr. Milinda Moragoda, is unable to attend this program due to prior commitments. I am truly and deeply honored and privileged to be here on this occasion representing the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka. Know India program is an important program for students and young professionals of Indian origin to be aware of the different facets of the life of India and the progress made by the country in the competitive world. Further, this program provides a platform for them to share their views, expectations, and experience. Especially, this program unites the students and young professionals of Indian origin from all over the world to one platform where they can strengthen their bonds with the contemporary India. Diaspora can play an immense role in the economic development of their country of origin. The huge economic value of diaspora is demonstrated by the remittances that they have sent to supporting their families or invest in their motherland. Further, the diaspora helps to build the cultural bridges between the host countries and the country of origin. India has large diaspora communities around the world, and they have achieved eminence in business, IT, health sector, media, and entertainment industries, to name a few. As previously Ambassador Anup told that, they have also occupied a prominent position in political life in their host countries. For example, Madam Kamala Harris, Vice President of the USA, and Honorable Rishi Sunak, who has recently competed for the Prime Minister post in the UK. Further, Indian origin Chief Executive Officer who run a few of the most powerful corporates in the world, like Mr. Sundar Pichai of Google, and Mr. Satya Nadella of Microsoft, and Mr. Parag Agarwal of Twitter, and we can add more. India utilizes its diaspora, the invaluable human resources, in an effective manner. The Indian model of mobilizing its diaspora could be emulated by Sri Lanka, who has many diaspora communities across the world. Sri Lanka is exploring ways to engage its overseas community for future growth as well as for reconciliation. President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently said that an office will be set up in Sri Lanka to deal with the diaspora community as they remain a strength and source of economic growth in the country. As this program is arranged for building a diaspora youth network, I take this opportunity to thank the ARSP for selecting 4 Sri Lankan of Indian origin to participate in this important program. I strongly believe that now they have a better understanding of India, and that they can use their knowledge back in home for benefit of both countries. Finally, I congratulate the RSP for successfully conducting programs of this nature since its inception to ultimately promote universal brotherhood and harmony embodied in its motto, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, or the world is one family. Thank you and Dhanyavad.
Thank you very much, Ms. Victor, for your address. So as we come towards the conclusion of the program, so we have the address from Excellency Mr. Charandev Prasad, and this will be followed by some interaction from your side, and then we'll have a concluding remarks from Shri Narayan Kumarji, and after that we'll be distributing the certificates also for your participation in the workshop. So over to you, sir.
Dr. Aurora, distinguished members of the head table, and you young brothers and sisters. Guyanese, are you here? I ain't hear no noise from me coming to take the mic for a second time. Oh, come on. We had the disadvantage of being treated, of my friend from Trinidad being treated to applause from South Africa and Trinidad. Y'all, you know, Guyanese people, I'm begging. Oh, yeah, right. All right, you know how quick I'm going to do this, right? That is so true, and making the least noise. I would like to simply endorse and support everything that was said by all the speakers before me, and I'm done. Isn't it good to know that everything that was said before, I don't have to repeat, but I fully support and endorse all that was said, especially the way my friend from Trinidad, a younger brother, brought it out. And somebody had raised the question before if Seva, the organization, is a religious organization. I'll tell you that it's not, for one good reason. You heard the dynamic presentation by my friend. You want to believe he's a Hindu? He's a Presbyterian. So it has nothing to do with religion, my friends. My young friends, what you are here for is to know India. Roger, my good brother, knows India a lot more than he knew even when he was in South Africa, even when he lived and he grew up in Trinidad, even when he spent so many years in England. Being here for what, 2 years, a little over 2 years? 2 years, he has known so much of India. And that is why he gave you, or give us, what he just did, a presentation of the Know India. And believe that as Indians, you do not have to depend on the foreign states. And you all heard Ambassador Gupta describe, for those of you who don't know the Muslimin team or the organization, if they can be so called, or called anything you want to call them, a group of people in Trinidad and Tobago. They were just rebels. And once the Americans were spoken to, or perhaps asked to look at it, they said, well, it doesn't bother us because it's not happening in America, it's happening in Trinidad. You have to believe that someday it'll come back to haunt you. What is happening that is not right? And I will leave you with the words of Desmond Tutu, this legendary leader who died a little, I think last year or earlier this year. He said, if you believe that you can be neutral and look at a government that is oppressing the people, you are in support of that government. Now, I will say it again. If you think that you're taking a neutral stand, looking at a government that is oppressing the people, you are supporting that government. In short, if you do nothing against what seems to be tyrannical, what seems to be oppressive, what seems to be bully attitude, then you are in support of such actions. And so, get to know India is why you're here. Youngsters from 10 or 12 different countries, but you're all part of the diaspora. And you heard me before when I spoke about the diaspora. We have the diaspora, but for some particular countries, and I named 5, Guyana, Mauritius, Fiji, Suriname, Trinidad, and Tobago. We are a special group of the diaspora. We are perhaps the original diaspora of India because we got there. And you've heard the numbers given. For Guyana, it's about 180 something, 84 years or so. 1838 was when the first indenture ship landed in Guyana. And so the diaspora for us who are here for the 5 countries is a breed of people who really stood strong to defy all kinds of atrocities. And we have risen. We have risen to be leaders in our own way. Presidents, vice president, prime ministers, lawyers, doctors, they're all there. And so my friends, my young friends, for me growing up, any correspondence used to be, you want to make a friend, you look at the pen pal column in a newspaper and you write, hi, how are you? I would like to be your pen friend. You have WhatsApp, you have Facebook and all these fancy things that I don't know about. You can, Twitter, here I hear Twitter, you can tweet. You can now stay in touch. You can have, like only just yesterday, my friend Roger and Nilesh, they were by me. We were talking, they said, look, we'll establish a little group to do this and this and that. Sure enough, before he left, it was done. And now you can connect to different people because a group has been established. Do that so that all of you here from the various countries will remain connected. And to satisfy the request of my friend, Dr. Aurora here, he wants to know how to keep you connected. That is so simple. You all sit down and your parents are looking at each other and they're talking and they try to get your attention. You're even in church and you have your cell phone and you go with your kitty kit and you, hi honey, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm with my parents now. And they think that you're listening to them. Parents are very stupid nowadays when it comes to children. We don't even know that a love affair is going on right in front of our eyes. Lie? True or not? Say it, yes or no. Yeah, of course it is. See, at least they're honest. They're very honest. We're not going to tell your parents anything, don't worry. This ends here. Whatever happens in this hall stays right here. Good? All right. And so I will leave you with those little thoughts. I will share one little thing that I picked up a long time ago. And it's a movie called The Power of One. And if you know that story, if you've even seen the movie, I don't know if they have that in Netflix now, but it's a movie with Lou Costa Jr. As a star. And he was a black man in South Africa. And he was hired to teach the child of a white family. And the boy was about 10. And during the conversation and the teaching, the kid would ask him questions. One question came to the teacher. Why is it your people don't know to read and write and they cannot, you're a teacher, you're teaching me, why can't you help them? Lou Costa Jr., the teacher, said, I can't teach them because then it was and most of you are too young to know this, but you may have some idea that the racism dominated South Africa. And so what he told the boy, he said, you know, I can't teach my people, but you can teach them. And this kid is 10. And he looked at his teacher and said, well, how can I teach them? He said, you will find the answer one day. You look to nature and you will find the answer. And this kid was wondering, it stuck in his brain. I can teach these people to read. How can I do that? I have to find the answer in nature. And one day he was looking at this huge waterfalls. And so he walked past the falls. And then he saw that this waterfalls branched off into two rivers. And he followed one for a little while, and that one branched off into another two, and he took one and he went up, and then by branching off and branching off, he reached the mountain, and he saw that one of the rivers now had water coming from the mountain, falling one drop at a time, assembled, and then started running, and in trickles became a small stream, and then a river, and then as the rivers combined, they became this powerful waterfalls. He ran back to his teacher. I got the answer. I will teach your people. And so I'm telling you this because many of us believe, you know, what can I do alone? What can I do? I'm just one person wanting to do this. The kid went back and told his sister, I have the answer. Get 5 of your people and tell them I will teach them. And so he took 5 of them and he made them promise that when I teach you to read, you will each teach 5 other persons. And so that, whether it's true or it's just a movie that was made, spoke to the power of one, a drop of water coming down. One person teaching 5, the 5 will go out and teach 5, and in multiples of 5, a nation perhaps was educated. You need to know that you can do this. You can keep this group together. You can help the youths to be connected. You can help India to be known worldwide because you're here to do just that. The power of one can work in any area, in any direction, and for any of us. Just believe in yourself. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This indeed is a great day. And as I told you that, we'll keep this program in a semi-formal kind of format. And I think it has been very, very successful that way. Thank you very much, Excellencies, for that. Before I invite the Director of ARSP for his final comments, a quick couple of comments from, our friends here. This is a Know India program, and after hearing Dr. Roger Gopal and Excellency Charandas Prasad ji and our ambassador of Suriname and all that, how much have you known India? I mean, what was your, as I asked you in the beginning, what was your perception about India when you were coming here? Your seniors were telling, don't eat anything, the food is very spicy and all those things, isn't it? So how have you found, if couple of you can, if just couple of comments, and after that, then we'll have final comments from Mr. Narayan Kumar, and then the certificates, and after that, the high tea. Would anybody like to make a quick, short comment from our friends? Here, yeah, please, welcome. Give him a big hand,
Hi, Jared from Trinidad and Tobago. Um, the experience, I think, on behalf of everyone, I would say was a great one. It was very informative. We visited a lot of historical places, a lot of museums, forts, all very good things. The only recommendation I would make going forward is that we are people of a certain age group. I think what would have been helpful is to meet Indian people of the same age group and get the chance to interact, to really learn about India from their perspective as well. That's all. But otherwise, very good, very well organized. Thank you to the coordinators. Yeah.
I thank you for this suggestion. In fact, that's very important. In fact, madam, we did not have the time, but earlier we used to take the Know India program delegates to universities. In fact, I have taken them to, one of the best colleges, Shriram College of Commerce, and then Hindu College, to make them interact with the students over there, and also to the National Science Museum. So we have done a lot of programs. The only thing is time is a constraint. It's a very packed program. But your point is very well taken. We'll ensure that you have more interaction with the Indian students and youth from here. Yes. One more comment. Anybody who would like to make a comment?
Hi, Vishnu from Trinidad, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, because Trinidadians, they had to make an impression.
So I think Dr. Roger Gopal has inspired a lot of Trinidadians here.
So I just want to say, of course, thanks. I really appreciated being here in India and even getting the opportunity to come here from the bottom of my heart. But I want to say, just besides, learning about the rich history and heritage of India and my connection to India, it also, with my experience in school, it also opened my eyes to some of the problems I have at home, especially with things like transportation and a lot of traffic and that kind of thing. How Delhi is responding to those things. Something as simple as introducing rickshaws into Porter Spain to deal with traffic and that kind of thing. So I've seen here in India, I've learned where a lot of the way how you all deal with problems in society, I could definitely take that back home and sort of start a conversation so our own government could initiate changes like such. Yeah, so thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. Anybody else? All right, wonderful. So now, is anybody else going to make a comment? Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicole. I'm from South Africa. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you so much for having us all here. We really enjoyed all the speeches. It was very inspiring. I would say what I've taken from India is I grew up in a family that was very passionate about connecting with our roots, and sometimes I think being a diaspora, growing up living in another country, you tend to adapt a lot of it is your culture at the end of the day. You're born there, you grow up there, and you sometimes tend to lose a little bit of who you are and where you come from. So I think having the opportunity to connect to our roots, learning the culture, meeting the people, eating the food, really, really resonates with me and really has helped me and shaped and changed my perspective of India as a whole. So I'm very grateful for the experience.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that. Now I invite Shri Narayan Kumarji for his final comments, and then I'll also request Excellencies that we have prepared certificates for our delegates. So kindly help us distribute the certificates to your countrymen. Yeah.
Thank you, Gopalji, Mr. President, Madam Jan and Excellencies, dear delegates of KIP. It's my privilege to be here and give concluding remarks. Everything has been said. I have nothing more to say, but I will like a delegate, single delegate from Israel to identify himself. It's because our president, Mr. Virendra Gupta, has opened Indian embassy there. So you don't think you are not represented by your High Commissioner. Mr. Gupta is there. And his last posting was as High Commissioner of South Africa. So South African people should also identify themselves. Please, how many of you are from South Africa? 4 or 5. Thank you very much. And as Madam Jan has said, she has served there in Myanmar. So you all are, we are very thankful to all the diplomats to be here, and also we are very happy to be acquainted with your experience here. I have served as cultural officer and director Indian culture in Guyana for about 6 years. And 150th anniversary of the arrival of Indian was organized there. I was liaison officer from the government of India, and though that was after Varnam, that was the government of Hyatt, but 150 delegates from India went there, and that was led by Shankar Dayal Sharma, whose stayover was in Trinidad, and then he further went to Suriname, and I was there in all the 3 countries, being the liaison officer of the government of India. I also visited Suriname as a consultant of the government of India in 2003 when World Hindi Convention was organized there, and I have very memorable and sweet experience of organizing that conference, because Suriname is a Hindi-speaking country, like Fiji, where we went and everybody was speaking in Hindi. As a matter of fact, in the constitution of Fiji, it's the official language of that country, and when they released their constitution, it was in all the 3 languages simultaneously. So we see that culture and language play very important part, and we should also try to preserve, protect, and promote the Indian culture and Indian languages so that stable relation should continue. Friends, I once again thank you, and we have given you the souvenir. The address, emails are given there. This was a government-sponsored program, and we are grateful to the government of India for providing us opportunity. But whenever you come, you think to come for education, for business, for anything, we, the Antarashtriya Sahyog Parishad, always present to help you, and we will be glad to provide services what you want. As far as the our friend asked a question about the Seva International, India as well as Suriname, Guyana and other countries, all are secular countries. Our friend Irfan Ali ji is the president of the Guyana. And when I was in Guyana, Dr. Ali, his uncle or someone else, kept a letter from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, because when he came here to do his MBBS course, he has no vehicle, and he wrote to Prime Minister. And Prime Minister replied it, and he got a Bajaj scooter. So similarly, when Chedi Jagan and Bardhan came, that was not the parliament session in India, but Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru accorded reception in the central hall of the parliament. So we value all our friends, and I say in Hindi कि देश रहो परदेश रहो काहू वेश रहो हमारे रहोगे. You may be India, be in foreign countries, be on any position. You are ours and you will remain ours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Narayanji. And as this program comes to an end, I wish to present a vote of thanks also. And I will just take a liberty to reverse the protocol. And let me have the liberty of first thanking my young delegates of No India program. A big thank you to you for coming and making this program very lively. And I'm also thankful to Excellency Charandas Prasad ji, Excellency Arun Kumar ji, Dr. Roger Gopal, Ambassador Manika, and Nilesh ji, and Miss Victor, and all, Miss Seetal is there, Miss Khan is there, Chandola ji has come from far off. I am really grateful you have made this program very lively, and we are all inspired by your energy. So with that, now I invite Dr. Ruchi to take the names of the participants, and I'll request the dignitaries to present them the certificate of appreciation and participation. Over to you, and a round of applause for Ruchi also, because she is the one who actually did a lot of work. Thanks to you.
Thank you, sir. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thank you. Yeah. So now I'm calling the names from Guyana. This is Teresa Rebecca Jackishan. Then Albert Jacob in Shanley. Yes, sir. All are from Guyana only. Yes, sir. Next is Indira Horilal from Guyana. Yeah. Yeah. Then next is Rameshwari Dharmadat from Guyana. Yeah. Next is David Nathaniel Papana from Guyana. And the next is Chandra Kumar Purnanath from Guyana. He is from. Yeah. Now I'm calling the names from Suriname. Nuraya Ravishakal. Kalo. Yeah, right. That's the. Yeah. The next is Vanya Varsha Timal. Yeah. The next is Vin from Suriname. The next is Sandijit Krishan Fagu from Suriname. Sorry, Sanjit, no?
Sanjit Kishon.
Yeah.
And South Africa, that was honor.
Also South Africa. Palkaran. Yeah. Sunday. The next is Zar Zagru from Trinidad and Tobago. From South Africa.
From South Africa now?
Now I'm calling the names from South Africa. Shelly Govender. This one is Throshni. Now the next one is Thiroshni Nicole Naidu from South Africa. The next is Neha Singh from South Africa. So, the next name is Cameron Sheldon Shukwu from South Africa.
From Fiji, नीलेश
Oh yeah.
आप आइए इजराइल का दे देते हैं
इजराइल
इजराइल का देखो
इजराइल का सर वहाँ पे होगा अकेले सर ये साउथ अफ्रीका से सर ये कैमरन सेल्डन शुकू फ्रॉम इजराइल लिटिल बमनुकर Now I'm calling the names from Fiji. Hazik Hasir Baksh. Aisha Lavantika from Fiji. Sri Lanka. Riteshmi Kumari from Fiji. Aniket Kaushal Aniket Prasad from Fiji. And Anish Amitesh Chand from Fiji. हाँ सर अब श्रीलंका से
श्रीलंका से आप आइए
Now I'm calling the names from Sri Lanka. Sorry, पीछे. Sir वो. Sir ये Fiji से है. Now this is Nisantini Tyagraj from Sri Lanka. Satya Sangvi Sri Ranjan. Shri Pavitra from Sri Lanka. Niroshi Shirel Martinez from Sri Lanka.
इसके बाद एम्बेसडर मनिका जैन देंगे
Oh, sure. ठीक. Now I will request Ambassador Manika Jain ma'am to do the honor. Now I'm calling the names from Mauritius. Thiruvallan Savedan Jensen Anamalai. Sorry if I have mispronounced the names. The next name is Sangvi Palani from Mauritius. The next name is Bhavish Ketha from Mauritius. The next name is Harshita Kuber from Mauritius. Bhavish Ketha. Harshita. Harshita.
Harshita here.
Then Neha Uria from Mauritius. Now I'm calling the name from Malaysia, Sharon. And Shigar Shri Jaya from Malaysia. now the delegates from. Oh yeah. Now the delegates from Myanmar, Rakesh. Now Fayo Triong from Myanmar. इनके नाम ही देखो. Sorry. Now Lin Nyai from Myanmar. Lin. Then Ai Chan Mei from Myanmar. This is Ai Chan Mei. And then this Hitnin Thet Fei. Is this the correct pronunciation? Yeah. Okay. This is the last delegate. So, yeah. Hin Het Fei. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we request you to please join us upstairs for high tea. Thank you.
And enjoy the falooh,
Lovely,
the
the
pakora,
pakora.
the samosa.
Yeah, we have a birthday boy here. Wait. No movement. Remain with